Akim Olufemi Gbajabiamila. God bless you all.
When you can't track the sources of funds, it's easy for them to just get out of the system.
Lawmakers frown at discrepancies in 2021 remittances by government agencies.
So it becomes mandatory for us to come around to see what was appropriated for 2022, where are we?
And House Committee on Health visits NHIA, commends management for its strides in healthcare delivery. Welcome to another edition of House Tickets, your weekly legislative window into the activities of the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. I am Dehelia Mamza, your guide. The House Committee on Finance has been quite busy with its meeting with various agencies of government over the 2023 to 2025 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper, on which the 2023 budget will be predicated. Last week, it held extensive discussions with the Minister of Finance, the Nigeria Customs Service, as well as other critical stakeholders, where the nation's finances and economy were discussed. Details of these meetings make up a major part of our program. In another development, the House Committee on Health was on an oversight visit to the Office of the Director General of the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, where the new NHIA Act signed into law was on the agenda. Details of these events coming your way in the course of the program as House Ticket returns fully in a moment. Don't go away.
The entire purpose of the legislative agenda is to direct our legislative resources and efforts in a coordinated effort to ensure the well-being of the individual in a life of safety and freedom. That is a high ambition, but it's well worth the effort. We have passed landmark legislation to fix our oil and gas industry, reform the police, and reorganize the corporate administration system in our country. We have considered and passed meaningful legislation that impacts all areas of our national life.
Let us start the program fully with reports from the House Committee on Finance that has been sitting nearly every day in the last 1 week. The committee on Monday, August 29, 2022, met with the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, where she presented the 2023 to 2025 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper. It is worthy to note that the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper, MTEF and FSP, is a major feature of the annual budget preparation cycle. Presenting the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper, the minister disclosed that the federal government may not be able to make provision for Treasury-funded capital projects in the 2023 fiscal year. She added that the budget deficit for the 2023 fiscal year may run between 11.30 trillion to 12.41 trillion naira, depending on the choice that will be made by the government on the issue of subsidy payment on premium motor spirit, otherwise known as petrol.
The IMF projects global growth to slow down from an estimated 6.1% in 2021 to 3.6% in 2022 and the same rate in 2023. Nigeria continues to be exposed to risk aversion in the global capital markets, which will put further pressure on the foreign exchange market as foreign portfolio investors that have left our country are yet to return to the Nigerian market.
The minister puts the aggregate expenditure of the government for 2023 at 19.76 trillion naira. Speaking on revenue performance of the government, the minister disclosed that from April till date, the federal government has retained revenue of 1.63 trillion naira, 49% of the pro-rata target of 3.32 trillion naira, noting that there is need for further drive upward the revenue performance of the economy. The minister, while responding to questions from members of the committee, chaired by Representative James Faleke, said oil production in Nigeria had declined.
If we expect to have upward pressure on prices, why are we pegging our budget price to $70?
With the issues raised by the honourable ministers and those that are in the public domain, the pipeline vandalization and oil theft, are we really getting value for money if we can spend 8-point-something billion and yet we are crying to the public that our oil is being stolen, and then we are experiencing nationwide pipeline vandalization, even though we know that some of the pipelines across the country are not functioning because they are not pumping oil or PMS to the depots. We know that. So are we really getting value for money?
I will have said from what has happened in 2022, clearly what we are spending is not giving us much value because production continues to decline. And what this means is whatever we're doing is not working, and therefore we have to do something that is radically different. My understanding is that the security agencies and the National Oil Company Limited, as well as the regulators, have been working very hard to find solutions, and what they tell us is that they are beginning to see improvements. But we're waiting for the production numbers to see.
I don't know the level of performance of this current budget that we are estimating on this 11-point-something deficit and the increase in the yes, I mean 2020. It's 2020, 2023. It's 2023 because it's the estimate we are preparing for. We need to know the level of performance that we are either increasing the size of the budget and at the same time the expected deficit that we are planning.
We have presented that as the very first part, the performance in revenue as well as the performance in expenditure. We had presented the oil and gas revenue to be 39%, the non-oil revenue to be 92%, and that the expenditure performance is actually almost at par with the budget, while the deficit performance is slightly over the budget prorated as at April.
She added that the crude oil production challenges and petroleum subsidy deduction by NNPC Limited constitute a significant threat to the achievement of government's targets, as seen in the 2022 performance up to April.
Exchange rate, which was appropriated at 410 naira 15 kobo to the US dollar, is now slightly up to 415.19 to the US dollar. Inflation, which we projected to be at an average of 13%, is now up to 17.71%. And this is as at July. It has, from all indications, it's still continuing to climb up. The GDP growth, which we had projected for 2022 to close at 4.2, we are moderating and adjusting it down to an actual of 3.11% as at the reporting period of July.
Following the presentation of the minister, the committee has met with other revenue-generating agencies and other critical stakeholders in the financial sector of the economy. For details of these meetings, let's take the next report as presented from our studio.
The House of Representatives Committee on Finance has frowned at what it described as unfortunate, the negligence displayed by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, AGF, over discrepancies on the 2021 remittances by government agencies. This was the position of the committee following the difference in figures between the representative of the AGF and the Energy Commission of Nigeria, among others, at the resumed hearing on the 2023-2025 medium-term expenditure framework at the National Assembly.
Recurrent grants received 2.4 2021 IGR 2.4 billion, IGR 13 million, operating expenses 2.46 billion. I mean, we must have details of the expenses, the expenditure. You received 2.4, you expended everything, we must see the details.
And Nigerians must know this, that all the agencies, especially the Office of the Accountant General, they are our problem in this country. Because Nigerians will be shouting they are the politicians. Look at what my colleague has just read out. Look at it. So it is good that we let Nigerians know that you that we have put at the helms of affairs in various agencies, and especially the Office of the Auditor General, Accountant General, with the CBN, they are our problem.
Do you have a copy of their letter?
The deputy chairman of the committee, Saidu Abdullahi, who chaired the session, blamed both agencies for encouraging gross misappropriation in the ministries, departments and agencies of the government.
The agencies do not need to interface with you to even tell you that they've made payment. The system should be able to tell you that so-so agency has made payment.
But for now, that is unfortunately the best.
Yeah, but it's been on for a while. We should have, by now we should have done something different, because I remember even last year, this is where we were. And you have plenty monies that cannot be accounted for, and the next thing you hear is that 100 and something billion naira is missing in the system. When you can't track the sources of funds, it's easy for them to just get out of the system. So we need to take this job more seriously, more so that this country is bleeding, as it were. And that's what I was telling the DG. Every kobo matters at this material point in time. It doesn't matter how much you're generating. We're interested in knowing that it goes to where it's supposed to go to. It doesn't matter how much.
The Finance Committee, while discharging the agencies present, directed them to reconcile all remittances with the Accountant General's office and reappear before the committee with documents relating to every transaction in 2021.
The fact of the matter is, something has to be done differently as far as the operations are concerned. A lot is happening you have been in the news for the wrongest reason of recent. So you need to double your effort. You need to do something different to create a different impression of what the office is doing. So I think as a final note, we'll push them back. We'll push them back to you. You're going to do a reconciliation. We give them a new date to appear before the committee.
Almost half of it is going to go as subsidy.
The Controller General of Customs, Hamid Ali, also appeared before the Finance Committee. The Controller General, while appearing before the committee, said that the claim of daily subsidy payment on 98 million litres of fuel by NNPC is not tenable. Ali questioned why NNPC will claim that Nigeria's daily fuel consumption is 60 million litres per day, but pays subsidy on 98 million litres daily.
The issue is not the smuggling of petroleum. I have always argued this with NNPC. If we are consuming 60 million litres per day by their own computation, why in the world will you allow a liftment of petroleum product of 98 million million litres per day? Why? If you know this is it, if you know this is our consumption, why do you allow that lift? That is one. Two, to say and that computation to me is not even anything to believe, because scientifically you cannot tell me that if I fill my tank today, tomorrow I'll fill the same tank with the same quantity of fuel. And if I'm running a petrol station today if I go to Mina Depot and lift petrol, and I'm taking it to Kaduna, I may reach Kaduna in the evening, offload that petrol in that evening. There's no way I could have sold that petrol for you to account that that has been expended.
The deputy chairman of the committee, Saeed Abdullahi, who presided over the sitting, said, "What is required is the political will to bring subsidy to a halt." He added that subsidy is not sustainable as money meant for the welfare of Nigerians is being diverted into private hands in the name of subsidy.
I think, appreciating the interdependence of these two arms of government, we need to work together to bring a halt to this. Posterity and history will surely be kind to us if we're able to provide a lasting solution to the issue of subsidy. Because it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. We talk about insecurity and what have you. This is the real cost of it. The money that is supposed to go into social service, the provision of social service to the citizen, we're diverting it into private pockets. So I think there is need for us to work together in order to bring a halt to this.
You're still onto the program House Ticket, coming to you on the NTA Parliament. We just brought you reports from different sittings of the House of Representatives Committee on Finance in the last 1 week as it goes over the 2023 to 2025 MTEF and Fiscal Strategy paper. The discussions have been quite enlightening, and House Ticket promises to continue to bring you details of more meetings between the committee and MDAs. We will now bring you a report on an oversight visit to the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, by the House of Representatives Committee on Health. The report is compiled and presented from our studio.
We also have our secretarial staff under the leadership of
The House of Representatives Committee on Health Services on Tuesday, 23rd August 2022, was on an oversight visit to the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA. The chairman of the committee, Representative Tanko Sununu, alongside members of the committee, were received by the Director General of the National Health Insurance Authority, Professor Nasir Sambo, together with other staff present during the visit.
the executive has gone a long line.
Representative Tanko Sununu in his remarks said the purpose of the visit was to go around and see what was appropriated for, challenges amongst other issues to improve, and fill in the gap in the 2023 budget. He used the opportunity to congratulate Nigerians on what was done in the amendment of the National Health Insurance Scheme Act, which according to him is to address what will go down to Nigerians as a major dividend of democracy.
What was done in the amending of National Health Insurance Scheme Act is to address what will go down to Nigerians as a major dividend of democracy. They have the feeling that if well executed, the provisions in the Act is enough to lead Nigeria to achieving universal health coverage. And this is the international directions, and each country is working towards achieving that.
The chairman made a call to members of the committee that there is a provision in the Act and also a policy of NHIS where, as part of their constituency project, they can be able to allocate funds for their constituents to be enrolled in health insurance scheme in the country.
As part of your constituency project, you can allocate funds for members of your community to be enrolled in the health insurance scheme of the country. You also can trace and follow the development of services provided to your community on timeline basis. I do hope that in this appropriation, members will consider that and use the opportunity to contribute to the goal of Nigeria achieving universal health coverage. Ensure easy access to financial.
Professor Nasir Sambo, on his part, said that the NHIA was created, among other things, to ensure easy financial access to healthcare. He said that globally, it has been acknowledged that financing healthcare is a major thorn in the flesh of delivery of healthcare services. He added that over time, the healthcare finance system was developed and it became an integral part to financing of healthcare. The Director General noted that it was recognized that health insurance system is the most progressive healthcare financing system as it has all that is needed for the finance of functions which has to do with resource mobilization, funding, and expenditure tracking.
The evolution of this health insurance system in Nigeria has gone through a very checkered history, but however, in 1999, precisely 13th May, just on the eve of the departure of the military, the law establishing the National Health Insurance Scheme was signed. And immediately when the law was established, was signed, experts sat down to look at the law and recognize that there is a huge lacuna in that law. The major lacuna is that the health insurance globally, if it is aimed to address the teething problem of healthcare financing, must be made mandatory. That is compulsory. But unfortunately, the Nigerian law was not made a mandatory law. So therefore, there was even a call right from the onset to review the law so as to make it mandatory. But successive administrations and administration have tried severally, and they have not been able to amend that law until the 9th Assembly.
Professor Sambo said that it was as a result of all the problems and challenges of the NHIA that President Muhammadu Buhari set up an independent presidential panel to look into the problems and proffer solutions to them, while the committee sat and made far-reaching recommendations. Some members of the committee also made their contributions on the subject matter.
If you want, particularly in the north, for the public to key into your activities, this traditional and religious leaders committee, in fact, I've been commissioner for health and road twice. And if you want them together, you understand? And they go round, before you know it, everybody will catch up. All this big money you are spending on, billboards in Abuja, jingles and so on, you spend a fraction of that. And not, people build structures. Everyone you go, you find a private healthcare center. But if you go inside, do they have staff? No personnel.
Time to say goodbye on House Ticket for today. Here's hoping you've been educated on the workings of the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. For more education, let's meet again next week on this same station. Many thanks for watching.